So if you got higher household income, you can get a better project. The way you get better household income is you get jobs, you build retail development, you build cultural institutions, you do everything possible to attract people with higher income levels. And that's a broad policy issue that this one city that I gave you the pamphlet on was addressing. They were talking about the importance of investing, the city investing in cultural facilities, because that brings people with higher household incomes. So my point is that the point of determining what you get is not the planning commission and the city council. There are a lot of other factors out there that influence the quality of the built environment. You guys, quite frankly, are, you know, as I draw a diagram, you're clear down here at the bottom. There's so many decisions that have gone in to the issues on the project before they even come to you. You know, it's the banking, it's the oil industry, it's which developers even want to do business here. I mean, it's just a broad issue. And you're kind of like the last gatekeeper before the project's done. You know, there are other broader policy issues that council needs to address to get this number up. And it's not just in multifamily. You know, we went through decades with no new retail centers here. We've gone through decades with no new office buildings here. The one office building that was built sat vacant for years. Steve's had space sitting over there for 15 years that hasn't rented out. So the whole issue ties back to addressing the existing built environment first and having a proactive plan. And Independence has done that really well, where they, and Sheila has been actually an advocate on the single family side of abating taxes so that people can come in and fix their houses up. You can do the very same programs in multifamily, office, and retail. And those policy programs will drive the rents up, which will drive the appraisals up, which will eventually get better quality. But it's not going to happen overnight. It takes years and years and years of being consistent. And I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this. Don't mean to lecture to you.
No, you've been very informative.
But I'm very passionate about it because I really would like to see Blue Springs achieve the greatness that I think it can. And, you know, obviously we wouldn't believe that if we, you know, and spend the kind of money we are spending out south if we didn't think it had that potential. And my biggest fear when you talk about multifamily is that usually the issues that they deal with in California is affordability. You know, it's just too expensive. And we are concerned that we could have that problem out south and that the feds could hammer us, that we don't have product that's less expensive enough. And that's where the feds come in and hammer us as private developers. You have to provide product in your development that allows all segments of the society to participate.
It's in our comp plan. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And really, you put a lot of effort and time into this, and I look forward to reviewing all the information you have given us. Thank you so much. Our next guest speaker is Phil Perry from the Home Builders Association. He's Director of Governmental Affairs.
Thanks. I'm going to mirror a lot of the same things that he said, Mr. Williams said, because it's important stuff. Most of what I'm going to talk about is in this book. Marianne Casado made a presentation here about 3 weeks ago. She's a leading architect in design. She emphasizes a lot of simplicity. That's what's important to her. And you can see through here, I'm just going to point out a few things. I would like to say that I'm also a city councilman in the city of Mission, Kansas. I was on the planning commission there for 10 years. We've adopted form-based codes in the western part of our city, about a third of the city. They are a very, very good tool because you are concerned with what your buildings look like, not so much as what the use is. And you relate it to the built environment. It's really very important. And what you guys are doing, I applaud what you're doing here because we do need to redefine the issues. Development's not the problem. It's poorly designed development that is really making the problem for us. But simplicity is a key thing. There are 3 key factors in great design, you have function, you have design, and you have cost. And the problem is getting all three of those together and making them all work together. It's easy to get two of them together, but you always lose something when you only get two of them. And functional and affordable, yet it looks awful. That's not what you want. You don't want it to be affordable and look great and not work, and nobody lives there. And finally, it can function and look great, but be so expensive that nobody can afford to live there. So you have to really work very, very hard, and you have to be really careful with design standards as to what you do, especially on the affordability issue. One comment I will make is that in Texas there is litigation going on right now about design standards in the Fair Housing Act, because they're claiming that because of design standards, it has raised the price of the homes so high that you're excluding a class of people from living there. I know it's gone to the judge. I'm not sure what the ruling has been on that, but it's going to be a groundbreaking case in those respects. So
You know what the name of that case is?
it's in outside of Austin. I can give you the name.
Yeah, we'd like to have it, and
Sure.
maybe have Bob look at it, and when the ruling is decided.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure we'd love to hear what's
Okay,
decided.
I will do that. So one of the things that she stresses in here is simplicity. Design does not have to be complicated. People think that by adding gables and adding all kinds of strange window shapes and different styles and things like that, you're not really accomplishing what you want to do. Simplicity is really very, very important. How it appears from the road, how a development appears from the road. She took a tour, she went around Blue Springs when she was here. And she looked at a few projects. Kevin Inyard from Gale Homes was driving around. They were one of the sponsors for it. Went by the one on Adams Dairy Parkway, looked at that. She said the worst one she saw was one off of Case 7 off of, what's the name of the road now? I forget. Well,
Is it in the book?
no, it's not in the book. She didn't. She was just looking at it, took some pictures. But she said the big problem with it was she drove up and all you saw was a giant parking lot. And so that really distracted from the whole development. It made it look really, really bad. It made it look like a barracks, which I know you guys are having problems with the way it looks. The one on Adams Dairy Parkway, the S&T project, she said the roadway, the landscaping wasn't as bad as this other one was, because it was narrow roads with inlets. There were trees. Yeah, the building materials was probably not a good choice, things like that, but it's how it appears overall. And as he said, landscaping along your major parkways is a key factor. What you do, trees are huge. Sidewalks, make them walkable. All these things are really important to how it relates to people, not only from a car, but how it relates as they're walking down the road. All these things play into that. And when I said, it says, we want to differentiate the way our buildings look, but sometimes we go too far. You get some of these townhome projects that every front of every unit looks different. That's not always a good thing, because it breaks it up too much. It doesn't, there's no unity to it, and it's expensive, and it detracts from the overall appearance of the project. And one of the problems that we do is we react to bad design. We're not sure how to fix it. So our reaction to that is that we create regulations to limit it. And in doing this, what happens is that we make regulations that prevent things from getting built altogether. We go so far the other way. It's kind of like a pendulum. It swings from one side to the other. We see bad projects, so we just make all these laws, and all of a sudden you end up with no projects. So you have to be, to me, you have to be really, really careful. You guys are taking the time to study the issues and to look at the things that are going on in the community. And that's a good thing, because you're spending the time as opposed to just reacting. And that's what causes a lot of the problems. Three things in here that are on page 21 I think are really important. Like I said, design for the person in the car, not just the car. Design an outdoor room, so when someone's walking, the outside walls of the building become the outside become the room. And what's going on there, the landscaping, the whole built environment becomes an important issue. You can't just look at one part of it, you have to look at all of it together. And landscape, color, tasteful accessories to soften and frame the streetscape. To me, those are very, very important things. Page 28, there are 7 secrets to adding value for your design. I'm not going to go through those because you guys can read that just as well as I can. And there's some good pictures in